Welcome to Next. If you're watching this video, this is probably your first time or second time really getting into Next and figuring out what this application can do. So welcome. I'm going to go over the top 5 things you can do to get Next set up and working well for you. So the first one is simply navigating around the application, syncing up your calendar, and signing up for your daily email. So to do that, the first part's simple. We have 12 different tasks that are preloaded with every new account, and each one has little instructions on how to really understand the software. So, for example, this one complete the task by clicking to the box on the far left. Well, that's simple enough. We'll check that off. This one says click on the tasks to open it up, and we can see the different features within here. And really just kind of work through those different tasks. You'll learn a lot about email tasks, SMS tasks, so on and so forth. Next, you can simply click through the different pages and kind of dig around. And in most of them, there'll be a tour that looks like this. This is where we have little overlays that kind of show you what the different buttons and the different features do. I know it's tempting to just kind of breeze through these and not really pay attention. So if you do want to go back and revisit any of these little interactive tours, you can do that. The links are going to be below this video, but this will exist on each page. You can learn a lot simply by going through and clicking on these buttons. Next, we're going to go ahead and sync up so that we receive that daily email. By going into our profile and down at the very bottom, you can see where it says communication preferences. Each morning around 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, an email will be sent letting you know what your tasks are for the day, any past due tasks, and your next upcoming key dates or important milestones for the different transactions. It's a super helpful notification, so go ahead and check that box to start receiving that and click update. And then the last piece is to come into your calendar, and you can actually sync this calendar directly to your Outlook, Gmail, Apple Calendar, really anything that uses an iCal feed. And it's pretty simple. For now, I only have a few tasks, but over time, when you have 4, 5, 10 properties that you're juggling, it'll be important that if you want to access Next really easily from your calendar, you can do that. So by clicking this Export for iCal button, you'll see there's 2 options. You can sync all of the tasks or just the key dates. Most people go with syncing only the key dates. You can click on this little button to copy it to your clipboard, or you can just come in and do a manual right click. So that is the first thing, is just getting familiar and synced in with Next. The second thing you should do to get Next working well for you is to come in and update the different roles, both for transaction parties and teams. So to do that, simply click on the custom roles button from the right-hand drop-down. And here you'll see a list of different roles that we have preloaded for you. Some of these you may not use. If you don't have a seller's attorney, you can simply come in here and remove it. You can also rename any of these if there's a different spelling, or if you just create one and need to edit it. You can also create roles. So if there's certain transactions that typically get involved, home warranty expert or something like that, who knows? You can create custom roles. And what this will do is that when you go and create a property and you need to associate all the different transaction parties, it's important that you assign a role for a multitude of reasons, not only so that you can keep track who does what, but also any pre-written emails or SMS messages that go out. You can have it delivered directly to the lender or directly to the loan processor or to the other agent, and so on and so forth. So create those different transaction party roles and get rid of the ones that you don't want. If you are on a team account, you can also include some of the different roles for the team members. So if you have a sign runner that you want to assign tasks to, you can start creating roles for those people as well. And they show up kind of down here in alphabetical order. So that is step number 2. Step 3, detail boxes. So while you're in on this page, we're going to go ahead and check out this property detail setup. So within each property, and I'll go to the one that we have on here, in the detail section, you have certain boxes that you are tracking information, and it could be buyer or seller name, it could be the closing date, it could be the contingency dates, it could be a description of some kind, it can be lockbox combinations, it could be splits between you and another agent, or split between you and your broker. And it's important that for each type that we have the ability to edit those boxes and things that we want to track. So you can come in here and you can rearrange the order. You can hide certain ones that you don't want. You can also add your own. So if you want to start tracking the inspection period, you can do that. You can also choose, is this a text-based field where you can just enter any comments you want, a currency, so only dollar amounts, or is it a date? And if you use a date, this actually gives you the ability to also link a task to this box. So in other words, when you launch a brand new action plan, if you have a task with a due date of June 1st, and that task is linked to the inspection period, then in the inspection period box will show up that date. That way you don't have to repopulate or edit it or add it again manually. So it's pretty simple that way. Once we have these different boxes set up, and you'll see there's 5 different types, it'll make sure that we are only tracking that information that is of utmost importance. Here in the other section, this is where if you manage any other types of processes, whether it's agent onboarding, whether it could be a marketing plan of some kind, anything that's a process for your team that's not necessarily related to a transaction would be in here, and you can update those boxes over time. You can also remove boxes over time. We're 3 out of 5. Our fourth is to come in and actually customize our action plans. So I'm going to come into the plans we have here, and you can see that we have it preloaded with 5 different plans. We have 2 buyer plans, a pre-listing plan, a regular 180-day listing plan, and then a seller closing plan. So if we want to create our own action plan, we can come in here and select one of these and simply make a copy and call it whatever we want. And once we do that, we can start editing the tasks. So for example, if we don't want, this task on here, we simply remove it. If we want to change the due date for this task, we can change this to happen 1 day after the start date, or 5 days before the end date, or whatever it might be. If we do want to insert our own, we can add standard tasks and email tasks. And if you are a pro user, you'll also have the option to put in a text message task, which looks kind of like this, where you can put in a body of the message and control who the recipient is. This is something that will evolve over time. So you can definitely start much more simple than this, or you can come in and tweak what we have. It's also important that you decide who are the roles assigned to this task and who are the recipients of the different emails. So you might come down here and say, we want the email to go to the buyer's lender and the buyer's and the seller and who else, whoever you create on that list. Easy enough. But go ahead and start building those different action plans that you want to use to help you run your business. On top of this, there is a way that you can add smart tags. For example, when we went into that smart box and we added the inspection link, I can come in here for this task that is called Deliver Inspections Finding Addendum, and I can link this to that inspection deadline. And what will happen is when the actual task gets applied, it will link directly into our inspection deadline box, right? So we'll go ahead and update this task. And as we create boxes and as we link tasks to them, they'll start showing up here in this column. And that's going to make our emails and our text messages much smarter, and we won't have to do any sort of duplicate entry of information. So once we create our plan, our last and final step is to go ahead and create a fake property, or if you have one, congratulations, roll with an actual one. But we're going to go in here and we're going to add a new property. So we'll call it 123 Main Street. We're going to go ahead and pick that it's a pending buyer deal. We'll go with our Brett's closing plan that we just created. The start date's typically going to be the day we go under contract, and the end date's going to be the day that we close. We'll do roughly 30 days. Add a property. And then this is where we can tweak our different key dates. So these are all the contingency deadlines. You can see this is the one that has the inspection deadline linked to it. Here's where we can review all of our tasks. So for example, if we don't have an HOA, we could remove this HOA email and just kind of clean up the list so we're not adding on any unnecessary tasks that are not applicable to the transaction. Our last step is to add the different transaction parties in. So if we want to add the lender, we can do that here. and give them one of those roles that we created. So we'll just go ahead and give them the role. Heck, we'll might as well do sign runner, and then we will click on add. All right, once we're done adding our different transaction parties in, and you can see also here the roles receiving emails. So we'd probably want to put these folks in. We're going to click on launch property. Now we have tasks to do today, and we have a list of everything between now and our closing date that we're supposed to do and when we're supposed to do it. All of our emails that we have set up can also be easily sent out. When we're setting up these emails, we can insert smart tags. So if we wanted to, in our template, add in that inspection date, we can simply put in the inspection deadline we created with the smart box, and this will preload every time we launch this plan. I'll go ahead and click on update that task. What we'll also see is that when we go in here to our detail page, that May 29th date is automatically linked to our inspection deadline box, which is nice and cool. If we go back here to our let's go to that email we had with our contract to close dates, and we click on the preview, you'll see that tag is also inserted here. So it really comes full circle when that's the case, and really just kind of sit back and let Nekst tell you what to do and when to do it. And hopefully this makes your job, whether you're an agent kind of managing your own business, you're a transaction coordinator or an administrator for a team, this should hopefully make sure that you never miss a detail. You can manage more transactions. And if you are ever gone for any reason, or if you ever want to take a vacation, someone else can sit in, take over for you, and hit the ground running without missing a beat. Hopefully this helps. I know it's a lot of information in a short amount of time, so check out other tutorials, and you can always come back and rewatch this video. And I promise to talk slower next time. Thanks.